channel. I'm Erica Harvell, your spiritual entrepreneur. And today we're going to talk about business plans. For we know that everything is done decently in order. And we know that we are to write our vision, hang it on the wall so that everybody can see. Those who believe it will take it and run with it, right? So how do you create a business plan that is that powerful that people will understand it and run with it to help the vision come to reality? But we're going to look at a pitch deck to help you understand what these components are and what you should put in those templates. So like a lot of us are using templates from SCORE, Business Plan Live to fill out our business plans, but we don't really know, right, what to put in there. At least I didn't in the beginning. I was just kind of saying, oh, this is what I want and this is what I want to do, but it wasn't really a plan. And so when I started creating pitch decks for my company, light bulbs started going on, and I knew how to present my company in a way that would help bankers and financiers decide if they want to take a risk with me. Okay. And by providing them the information that they need to know to decide if your business will help them make money or if you will make money so that you can pay your bank loan back. We're going to talk about that today. And we're going to do that by using the pitch deck of AirBNB, their very first early on pitch deck is what we're going to look at. And by the reason why I chose to look at a pitch deck when talking about a business plan is because the pitch deck is the most simple way that you can present your plan to a banker or to an investor, even to your friends. If you're wanting your friends to invest in you, this is the most simplest way to tell them what your business is and how it's going to make money and why they should invest. Okay. So let me share my screen here. And we're going to look at AirBNB's pitch deck. Okay, yay, there it is. Okay, so notice the front page is very clean. It doesn't have a lot of words, a lot of pictures. You don't see the founders' names, their email addresses, their phone numbers, their social media handles. You don't see any of that. This front page is all about the business, and it's the brand name and what they do. Simple, right? It's not their tagline. This isn't a tagline. This is what they do. Book rooms with locals rather than hotels, okay? You want the font to, anytime you do a deck or a business plan, you want the font for your deck to be no less than 30, okay? And then your business plan no less than 12. All right. The next slide is their problem slide. Again, it's very clean and simple. Not a lot of words, guys. You don't want a lot of words on these slides, and you don't want the sentences to be overcomplicated. So don't try to sound too smart. So like their problem, they basically are showing that they're focusing on price. Price is an important concern for customers booking travel online. Hotels leave you disconnected from the city and its culture, and there's no easy way to book a room with a local or become a host. Okay, and so looking at this, let me go back just for a second. On their title page, this right here, book rooms with locals rather than hotels, that immediately grabs the investor's attention, right? Because at this time, no one was doing that. And if I was an investor or a family member who, you know, you've asked to invest in your company, I'm going to say book rooms with locals rather than hotels. Like, okay, how do they plan on doing that? And well, let me see what he's talking about, right? It's going to make me click to the next slide. All right. Here, the same thing. No easy way to book a room with a local or become a host. That's going to make me say, okay, I get these two, but what the heck is he talking about here? And that's going to make me click again to the next slide. The solution, again, very simple, guys. The solution is a web platform where users can rent out their space to host travelers. They didn't say a solution is a website and an Android and iOS app where users can list their rooms that they have in their house that they're no longer using. And then travelers who want to stay in a house instead of booking a hotel. Like, they didn't go all into that. Their solution was very simple, and you have to keep it simple, right? Just simply because a lot of people think that just because investors have a lot of money, that they understand every industry that's out there. And the truth is, they don't. Like, they just really don't. They know how to make money. That's their business. They know how to take $1 and turn it into $1 million. And so they need you to explain this in the most simplest way that they immediately grasp it. Okay. And so Airbnb did a great job at that. They said, basically, we're going to provide a web platform where users can rent out their space to host travelers. It's going to help those travelers save money. It's going to help hosts make money, and it's going to connect them to the city that they're traveling to. It's going to share the culture of that city. These three speaks to these three problems. Okay. These are the benefits of this solution to these problems. Okay, so your product is your solution, but you have to just really simplify what it is. It's a web platform, okay, where users can rent out their space to host travelers. You will go through so many iterations of your solution statement, which is good. Practice it on people. Call your family members and say, hey, when I say this, tell me in your own words what this means. And then write down what they say. If they still don't get it, go back to the drawing board and then use some of their words. Like, ask them so that it's easy. Like, practice with a child. See if you're somebody in your family who's 8 or 12 years old, something like that. Practice with them. And when they can get it, then you've got it. Okay? It needs to be that simple. The market validation. You have to prove that you really have an opportunity, okay, and that you're not just going off of a hunch. So Airbnb basically showed to investors, stakeholders that, hey, there's already 630,000 people who are looking for temporary housing on this website called couchsurfing.com. In those days, before Airbnb, I would have never thought that there were 630,000 people looking to sleep on somebody's couch and wanting to pay to do that, then going to a hotel. And then they pointed out that there's 17,000 people looking for temporary housing in San Francisco and New York alone on Craigslist. Okay, so these are two huge opportunities. Huge. Okay. So it basically lets you know that there are people who would buy what Airbnb is presenting. That's what you need to do. Where are your people? How are they solving their problem right now? Okay. Again, more into the opportunity. This is your market size slide. How many people are booking trips worldwide? 1.9 billion at this time. I believe this was in like 2007, 2008. There were 1.9 billion people booking trips worldwide. And then they broke that down even more because they are more so focused on online trips. And so they said on top of that, 532 million of them book trips and online and spend money online to book their trips. And then they said, well, we're going to capture 10.6 million of those as our customers, and they're going to book trips with Airbnb, and that's going to be our market share. Don't go to an investor or to your family and tell them that you're going to capture this whole market. Nobody's going to capture an entire market. And then even the market that you can service, I mean, you're not going to capture that whole market either. So it's good to get even more detailed about the type of customer that you are focused on. And so like Airbnb didn't necessarily break it down here, but in their business plan, I'm sure they had customer personas that basically shared who they were focused on. Okay, sorry about that. My hand hit the screen. But anyway, since we're on this slide, this is the product slide. Again, it's just screenshots of their website that they had at the time. And it's so simple. This is how it works. There are not a bunch of diagrams or maps or paragraphs that says, oh, the user logs on, the user presses go, the user searches listing. Like, it's just search by city, review listings, and book it. Be simple. Keep it simple. And then just 3 little screenshots of their website. And I know, looking at this, if you didn't know where Airbnb was, I'm pretty sure that you would immediately be able to say, oh, okay, so all I gotta do is go on there and type in the city that I'm traveling to, look at what's available, and then book it. Oh, okay, right? This is your business model. Basically, your business model is how you plan to make money. Airbnb was commission on every transaction. So they took 10% commission on every transaction. They could have done a transaction-based business model where they charge a specific set transaction fee per every booking. They could have done subscription. Maybe they say, hey, you subscribe to this membership and you can book wherever online. That's one business model. Or they could have split the subscription and transaction. That's another business model. Okay. How do you plan on making money? This slide is very important. A lot of times the investor will look at your title slide, your problem, your solution, your market size, your business model, and your financial projections. They skip around, but those are the main slides that they're going to and your traction that they're going to look at. Okay. And so Airbnb is explaining how they plan to use this business model to get to this revenue during this time frame. Okay. So they've already said that we're going to capture 10.6 million travelers. That's their share of the market. And they basically said, so the listings on our platform on average is $70 a night at 3 nights. If we average that, that's about $20 a night for these 10.6 million travelers. And that will give us $200 million in revenue from 2008 to 2011. Okay. It spells it out to the investor how you guys plan on making money, how long it's going to take you to get there. Okay. And this is the go-to-market strategy. So basically, how do they plan on getting people to buy in to this new idea? And so Airbnb said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to hit events really, really hard. We're going to partner. We're going to hit up Oktoberfest, CBIT, Summerfest, the Mardi Gras. Then they said we're going to hit up partnerships with Go Loco, Kayak, and Orbitz. And then we're going to do a dual posting on Craigslist. So when they post on Airbnb, we're going to take that listing and also post it on Craigslist to give us a broader audience and more visibility. They don't have to do that now, but then they utilize and leverage the audience of larger platforms who already had people on those platforms. Okay. So, and that's really, really smart. Because Airbnb was a chicken and egg issue, right? So they had to go and leverage a lot of these events and partnerships and companies who already had a large audience. That's how they were going to attack the market. Okay, that's your go-to market strategy. And investors want to know that. Like, how do you plan on getting people to buy in? Very important slide as well. Your competition slide. I hear this all the time, and I used to be one of those people as well to say, oh, nobody is doing what I'm doing yet, so I don't have any competition. That's a lie. There's always competition, even if email marketing is your competition. If it's a real problem, people are trying to figure out how to solve it already. So, don't ever say you don't have competition. There is competition. But here, Airbnb broke down their analysis into 4 different quadrants. Okay, so they focused on affordable, expensive, online, offline transactions, and Airbnb was here. This is where they highlighted their differentiation is that they were affordable and they were online. Versus Craigslist was affordable, but you had to meet up with the person to pay offline, right? Which was a huge inconvenience, and it just was not safe. If you look at VRBO, which is also popular, they were really expensive and you had to pay offline. Huge inconvenience. Hotels.com was expensive. You could pay online. But the thing is that you don't want to stay in a hotel, right? You wanted to stay in the house of a local so that you could get the culture. This is where Airbnb had their competitive advantage. Now, hostels.com shared the affordability and the ability to make online transactions, but hostels.com was you stayed in dorm rooms, and the majority of people were trying to stay in dorm rooms, but college kids, right? So Airbnb had a huge competitive advantage over the competitors that were already in the market before they launched, okay? And here they list out the actual competitive advantages. They were first to the market with this type of business model. They were offering to pay the host. You only had to list once because they were sharing to Craigslist. Like you didn't have to list on Airbnb and list on Craigslist, and you didn't have to list every month. Once somebody rented, your listing was there until you took it off. The website was easy to use, and they showed that in there how it worked. The hosts were creating profiles on the website, and then their design and their brand was so unique that they knew that Airbnb was going to become a verb. If your brand can become a verb, then you are on to something. So the goal is to have very high brand recognition, and they had done that to a certain degree, and knew that they could maximize on that. Like anybody, it doesn't matter who you rent through. People call it Airbnb, right? You could be getting a house from VRBO, and if somebody says, well, where are you staying? Oh, we got an Airbnb, even if you didn't get it from Airbnb. Okay. So let's take a look at Uber's deck. They had 25 slides. That's a lot. You don't need that many slides. But again, look how clean their title page is. And looking at this, you automatically think like, okay, what are they getting ready to do with cars and mobile phones? Next generation car service. Okay. Let me go to the next page, see what they're talking about. And then they immediately get to the problem, right? And they talk about the status of cabs in 2008. They talk about how there were no two-way communication between the driver and between the person, the client, the person they were picking up. The most common car was a Ford Crown Victoria, which had high gas mileage, 14 miles a gallon, which was a huge expense for taxi companies. The way people hailed cabs, like they had to literally stand on the street and hail cabs, and there was no GPS coordination. So like if the driver had no idea where he was going and the client didn't know, they drove around until they figured it out, and that would increase the fee. And then when there were no clients, taxi drivers were basically getting paid, and there was a lot of dead time. Okay, so like they pointed out a lot of problems that they were solving. Another problem was that the taxi companies had to buy into a medallion system, and that system cost $500,000, and the drivers only made $31,000, right? And so there was no incentive or accountability for drivers, and so they had a monopoly, and that caused drivers to be rude and not care about the quality of service, and there was no way to rate the drivers. Like they could just be jerks, and the taxi company wouldn't know unless you called and kind of shared. And I don't know what they did then, but there was a company called Digital Hail that professionals in New York City used so that they would not have to stand on the street. And Airbnb kind of said, okay, we're going to go after that customer base. Okay. And so when they presented their solution, they said a fast and efficient on-demand car service. Their market was professionals in American cities. So they went for exclusivity in the beginning, and that's what made Uber so popular. Everybody wanted a referral code for Uber in the beginning because it was members only. And it was if you were a professional, If you had this certain status, then you could get into an Uber cab. So how it works, the client must be a member to use the service, professional and trustworthy clientele. So they're basically saying, like, people don't have to worry about using their own car because we've already vetted the members because they already use digital health. There's no medallion licenses required, guaranteed pickup, unlike a yellow cab. Here we have differentiation. It's going to be through a mobile app, and the clients and the driver will be able to see a photo of each other. Again, they talk about they go deeper into their key differentiators here. It's members only, one-click hailing, fast response time. They're basically saying, like, we're different from yellow cab because we offer this. We are members only. The client hails the cab through digital. Is faster than getting a cab. We use luxury automobiles. So instead of clunky Crown Victorias, we're using Mercedes and sedans, okay? You can rate your driver. So, like, they're pointing out why somebody would switch or change their behavior. Why would somebody switch from using yellow cab to using Uber cab, okay? So this is just their operating principles. We don't need to put that in there. That was good. So this is their product. Okay. Again, very clean. Notice how old these devices are, but it's one-click request from geo-aware devices. At that time, GPS was not, a huge thing. And so they're like, we can tap into this new technology and use it for car service, to reduce the fees and reduce the time of being in a cab and getting lost. And you can request a cab through text message and just basically say pick up at work in 5. So, like, they're showing how they're leveraging technology with this new concept. Okay. I want to get to their, this is pretty cool. You can do this too if you want to, kind of paint a picture for the investor. I typically do this in person when you think about use cases. So they're basically saying, like, people can use this when they've been at a restaurant or a bar or a show, and they've been drinking, or they need fast transport where there's no parking, where the parking isn't easy and they, don't want to worry about their car or pay for parking. They can use it to be picked up or dropped off at the airport. Remember, at this time, it was members only, so it had to be pre-scheduled. Working while commuting. They had Wi-Fi in cars, 3-person ride share. Like, they were allowing people to share rides at that time. If you want to drop your kids off at school, elderly transport. So, like, they were painting a picture for the investor so he wouldn't have to say, well, who would use this? This shows their product of what cars they're going to use versus the big, clunky cars. Okay, so it talks to the luxury of the brand. Okay, this is where they're going to launch. They were basically saying, we're going to launch in San Francisco to begin, and then we're going to move into Manhattan soon after that. This is our go-to-market. Okay. The technology that they were going to use, which were mobile phones, applications for iPhone, BlackBerry. Like, I don't even know if Android had smartphones at that time other than the BlackBerry. I'm not sure. But so they were focused more on these devices. This is their overall market. Basically, they were saying that the car service market was a $4.2 billion market a year and growing. This, again, they like the $1 billion. They like the fact that you're going after a large market because that means that there is room for you. Okay, you just have to figure out how to get in there. The target cities was going to be San Francisco, New York City. Then they were going to expand to LA, Chicago, Houston, Pennsylvania, and Dallas. And just breaking down how they were going to do that. If you go back to Airbnb's business model, it was more clean and simple to show what they were going to do. I recommend Airbnb's go-to-market strategy slide versus this one. Okay, so this is their projections. I freaking love the way they did this because They did a best case scenario, a realistic success scenario, or a worst case scenario. And if you're in the Funding Geek Squad, in this week's email, you will notice when I talk about this part of your business plan, I say to be realistic and don't be too ambitious and don't be too modest, okay? And so basically, Uber said, best case scenario, Uber becomes the market leader in rideshare and we become $1 billion a year company. And then they said, well, if that doesn't happen, realistically, we get 5% of the top 5 cities and we generate 20 to 30 million a year in profit. In worst case scenario, we remain a 10-car company with our exclusive 100 client services in San Francisco. And then we, save money and time for San Francisco-based executives. And what's so crazy is, like, this is what most investors looked at and expected, and this is what they got right here. But they, this is more realistic. This is considered a unicorn. And not a lot of people reach that status, and it takes a while to get to the status. A lot of hard work, a lot of crying, a lot of failing, a lot of keep going. This isn't an overnight thing. Neither is this. But yeah, this is what they were saying. Realistically, this is what's going to happen. But we would love if this happened. And that's exactly what happened. And if this or this doesn't happen, then we're just going to stay where we are. Progress to date. I like this because it shows where you are now and what you're doing next. So Uber said, okay, so far we have reserved ubercab.com and ubercab text message code. We've got our LLC and our trademark filed. We have a developer's license on the App Store. We have our bank account set up and our PayPal account created to receive the money for the fees. We have 5 advisors and 15 clients now recruited. So we have 5 advisors here, right? So we're not taking your money and doing this on our own. And then we have clients in the pipeline. Okay. And notice it's not hundreds of clients. We have 15 clients, executives recruited. They had filed for their patent and they said, okay, next, what we want to do is buy 3 cars. We want to get the app developed. We want to launch the first version of that app on February 1st, raise a few $1 million, get a small office, go to market in San Francisco. This is basically their plan for the money. We've already done all of this. Now we need your money to buy 3 cars to build the app. We're going to launch the first demo. Our goal is to launch by February 1st. We're going to raise a few $1 million more, buy a small office, go to launch and fully launch in San Francisco. Okay. So yeah, that is how you pitch, how you create a pitch for your startup. That is a good outline for writing your business plan and getting more detailed. Okay. So I'm Erica Harvell. If you are not subscribed to the Funding Geek Squad, go to spiritualgeek.ericaharvell.com and sign up for the Funding Geek Squad, where I send out weekly emails with funding opportunities, pitch competitions, accelerators, and I also send out information on, just how to present your business financially to investors. You can also subscribe to the Business Geek Squad or the Spiritual Geek Squad if you want to learn how to grow your business, as well as connecting your business growth to your spiritual growth. That's my favorite part. Okay, yeah. So until next time, guys, make sure that if you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button and the bell so that you get notified the next time that I post a video. And I'll see you next time. Bye.